it's time to say hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you just joining us, we'd like to say welcome to another fascinating edition of the program Ashford Garley Live on British Radio Africa. Today is April the 11th, 2023, and we come your way from Lansdowne, PA. Father God, want to give you praise, want to magnify your name. Blessed be your holy name forever. Father, we are grateful to you. In the name of Jesus, we've given you thanks. Folks, some heard the name, some heard people talk about him. This is yours truly, the doctor of love, the medicine of the microphone, Africa's media dope extraordinaire. Grazie tu payege, Zabonplo Ranjako, no Chiraji, Borobla, Padekoyo, Borosi, Groba, Picoyo, Sipra, Bediaku, Egueple, Sekoria Epelia. He doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. As for the giant, that now you know me, Garley. Welcome. Hello. Let us begin with our dynamic co-host, Mrs. Lexi Brooks Roberts. Lexi, how you doing? Welcome to the show. She's still on. Lexi, you still on mute. Okay, let us go to the Reverend, the Pastor Idatus Added. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Well, greeting all of you wonderful panelists. Certainly greeting to all of our Liberian dedicated listeners who follow us very patiently, tolerate our opinions on issues pertaining to Liberia. Greetings to all of you. God bless.
Joel Dunnage, the investor and IT guru. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Just have me a nice bowl of cassava leaf, man. I'm ready for I'm ready to talk.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dr. Rockefeller, hello and welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Hope all is well on your end.
I'm better
and
than
to the panelists as well.
Okay. Mrs. Roberts, are you ready? Is your phone off mute now? Okay, we're still having problem with her audio. Well, folks, that is what's in the news. What do you know so far?
Well, certainly the VP peg of Joseph Yima of Ambassador Boyka is still trending in the news. There are individuals such as former Senator Balu, who is interested in building together a group of individuals that would petition Honorable Boyka to make a selection around his VP pick, as well as Mr. Cummings, to somehow, in some way, shape, or form, foster a political collaboration that will unseat President George Weah. Of course, civil servant salary still hangs in the balance. Demonstration at the Transport Ministry, among other areas, remains unresolved. So those are some trending issues in the news.
Well, speaking
President, of course, has not also spoken about the Goodrich saga.
Okay, now speaking of the VP pick, gentlemen, lady, let us just begin with that tonight. I want to start with Idatu, since he in fact brought that up. Cummings is, on the other hand, has not picked his running mate. So is Ambassador Boyka, and everybody seems to be looking up to them to see who they have in becoming their running mates. Idatus?
You see, it is very clear that the eldest statesman and the visionary in the room remains the most formidable candidate of all of the political parties that are also in the race. So it is clear that people are looking up to him to make that decision. And like we've often stated on this line, that is a very crucial decision to make. And Liberians will be quite excited when he does make that decision. In fact, the Secretary General of the United Party spoke today, Mr. Imotue. Listen to him. So he's looking at the end of this month. Hopefully the VP will have made a selection as to who he wants to pick as his running mate. I'm confident that hopefully wisdom will be associated with that decision. Now, whoever he picks will be someone who is able to hit the ground running to take Liberia to a new height than where we are now.
Dr. Rockefeller.
Yes, sir. Well, looking at the political dynamics with everything that has transitioned over the years, Liberians are very emotional when it comes to the electoral process. Personally, I think in order for us to, to forge ahead and see the economical turbines getting into full swing for a better Liberia, I think strategically it is quite incumbent that that Mr. Cummings and Boykai sit down together and see how best they can work things out. Because here's what's going to happen. Evidently, it's no secret that there is a great deal of polarization between both parties. Okay, meaning Cummings and Boykai. Now, one may say that Boyka has the numbers, so definitely he's going to outrun or outshine Cummings because Cummings is a newcomer. There's this thing in Liberia where some of us feel that we are more Liberians than others.
30 seconds, please.
Yes. So if it happens that, that if they don't come together, I don't see a victory. And that's simply because of, the bitterness that's between both parties. I need a little more than 30 seconds to lay this out logically, please.
No, I mean, then maybe your second round you can come, but just
okay. Yes. So I think that they both need to they both need to come together so that come together and see how best in the interest of the country that they can move things ahead. There are some logical factors to take into play here, which have already been laid out. Like I said, just based on logic. So during my round two, now we'll get into those.
Thank you so much. Joel?
I have to say, man, the VP role is not that, it seems to not be that important. It's too much of a ceremonial role. But in this instance, because we have an older man in Boyka, I think that role will be a very it's a strategic role this time around. However, I'm not really excited about none of these candidates, man. I really wish we had more options to pick from. Whether it be in fact, I'm not going to speak too much on this, but I think the Speaker of the House in the next session will be, for me, will be a much better, more important person than the VP. So the VP role, I'm sure they're just waiting for Boyka is waiting for Cummings is waiting for Boyka, and it's not that important right now. Not to me. I don't think so.
Okay, Mrs. Lexi Brooks Roberts, if you can hear us, please come in with the input. If not, we'll go to Idatus and Idatus. People are saying, despite the challenges, despite the back and forth between these two camps. I'm speaking about the Cummings camp and the broadcast camp. They had some rough roads in the beginning, but now people are saying if you really want to unseat George Weah to making a one-term president, then I think it is okay to have Cummings and Boycott work together. And this is what we're hearing now in the corridor. As a matter of fact, former Senator Abalu is calling for a peaceful rally on the 13th. You first visit the headquarters of the Unity Party, and then they will go to the CPP's headquarters with their petition in trying to get these two camps to work together. You may speak.
Ashford, I certainly would like to appreciate his efforts to make that happen. At the time when folks looked at the CPP, it was a collaboration of 4 political parties. But now there are other names in the race, such as Tiawangongolo, Jeremiah Kung. And politics is about numbers. So, the reality is the fluidity of politics now has changed. So when one says, let Boyka and Cummings come together, that's a good idea. But the fact remains clearly that, we need to have some hard numbers to show potentially who is able to unseat this current government. The fact remains that even the Coalition for Democratic Change is also fractured. So that changes the dynamic the dynamics of VP selection. Now you got Mr. Kuhn in the race, you got Siawang Gonglo in the race. So all of these candidates, you have what's the girl's name? Kanga, Senator Kanga is also in the race. So it changed the dynamics in light of how the CPP has disintegrated. So Honorable Boyka, Ambassador Boyka, certainly has to be very careful in making this decision, because that decision he makes today or tomorrow could make or break the momentum of his campaign and the amalgamation of a coherent, united opposition.
Well, my friend and brother, yeah, Dr. Bantu, cool, like you said, a combined opposition is way better than a divided one. Dennis, do you agree?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. Liberians right now have pretty much either, I mean, George Weah has about maybe 28% of the vote in that country. The opposition is very splintered. If they don't come together, if George Weah 28 to 30% shows up on that day, he will win the election. If there is any animosity among the camps, George Weah will win. Now, I want to say this though. Inside of Liberia, Joseph Boykai does have a lot more constituents than Alex Cummings. Okay, if that election was held in D.C., Washington D.C., Alex Cummings will win, no questions. But I don't think we have enough people in Washington, D.C. that will be heading to Liberia, or Atlanta, Georgia, that will be heading to Liberia to help Cummings win. So Cummings needs a lot. He needs a lot. He does not have the numbers in Liberia. I don't believe so.
Well, Dr. Rockefeller, Edazana Cummings is the hardest working politician to date in Liberia. I mean, you've seen coming all over the place, trying to mobilize vote and people to his way. And Boycott is sitting there. It seems like the presidency is just chasing Boycott. Why Cummings is in fact not getting traction? Dr. Rockefeller Cooper.
Well, so here's the thing. I don't want us to, I tend not to understand when people say that, I'm sorry, that Cummings doesn't have the numbers. This election is a very, very important and critical one for the well-being of Liberia. Alexander Cummings, in my opinion, being vice president, okay, is going to be groomed for the presidency. In all things considered, he has what it takes, and it depends on what his function is going to be. Some people feel that the vice presidency is just a ceremonial position. Well, not necessarily. Okay, he could be vice president, but basically, quote unquote, running the show for President Boycott. So, we have to look at it strategically, and where if they can have agreements together, where basically. Because I would assume that that if Boycott was to be president, and maybe after his first term, he will not want to go for a second. So therefore, that the support will be given to Mr. Cummings. Now, Mr. Cummings has already been groomed and nurtured from working many years in on the international scene. So based on relationships that he's built, he has what it takes to take this country forward, even if he was a vice president. So meaning that would be just a title, but he could actually be functioning as a president. Okay. So, we have to look at this strategically, like I said. And here's the reason why I started with him being vice president. You had Joe Boycott being vice president for 2 terms. Should he come now to be a vice president for a 3rd term? That is an argument that's going to be made, which basically can be very detrimental to the success that the opposition will want to see. So, that's why I said earlier that they have to sit down and look at this strategically. Because if I can tell you that or raise an issue with Boycott being vice president for a 3rd term, I don't think that no one else has seen it. I'm not that smart to be the only one to come up with this point. whereas Cummings would have had a 6 years period to actually have a feel
30
for
seconds.
what it takes to be in that position. And then based on the platform that has been set, he may have a successful 6 and then probably 12, his second term, which will make him president for 12 years. So that's how, I'm looking at it at this point, given the fact that CDC still looks as a major threat and could possibly win the elections.
Pastor Adi.
I couldn't agree with Dr. Rockefeller. We've had these discussions with individuals. Those are practical observations. You aren't expecting him to come be a VP for the next third term. You know what I mean? So the fact remains, let's be very practical. Politics is about numbers. At the moment, he remains the only formidable candidate to George Weah. And that is why I can empathize with all of the political parties who have not selected their VP yet, because they're hoping that the man with the numbers in the person of Honorable Boyka will be able to perhaps give them an opportunity to serve within his vision of arrest, agriculture, road, education, sanitation, and tourism. A very basic vision. Gongulo is also a very good candidate. Mr. Cummings is highly qualified to lead, but because of the disintegration of the CPP and the different other candidates that have come in the race, it changes the dynamics of the politics. So he has to be very careful. But as it stands now, I can certainly empathize with the Liberian people. They're looking at Rescue One to see how best he can make a decision to change the trajectory of this country.
Cummings, Boyka, the rest of the opposition, one round victory for the opposition. Do you agree, Joel?
Cummings, a Boyka ticket, yes, I agree. But I can tell you, I'm one of those Liberians that's not really excited about that ticket either, man. But it's one of those things where, hey, you have to pick a side, and because we're already seeing what George Weah government is capable of, I do want change, but I'm not really excited. And the fact that we are all here young and capable, the fact that we are debating whether these two men should even be president in Liberia at this critical time, I think that's kind of sad, because I mean, Joseph Boyka, I don't really want to talk too much about the age, but it's hard to ignore that. Liberia needs a lot right now, and Joseph Boyka, with his age, it would be hard for him to wake up in the morning and work 15, 16 hours a day, travel, and do the type of work that Liberia needs to move forward. And as Dr. Cooper was saying, maybe you can have a scenario where you have a super VP. I don't see that happening coming from Boyka's camp. He definitely has people around him that would be looking to sideline any potential VP coming from the ANC camp. So there will be a lot of power struggle within that itself, and I don't think Liberia needs that. I think we need to be more definitive going forward. When we're choosing a leader for this country, there's a couple of people that I see. Dr. Rockefeller, Pastor Adi. I really hope in the future you guys take more active role in politics in Liberia, so we don't have these depressing choices to keep choosing from. We shouldn't have to always pick from two bad choices. We need more people involved in politics in Liberia. Thank you.
This is not 2017. This is 2023. And I keep hearing people saying that Joseph Boyka has the numbers. I mean, there has been, 5 going on 6 years now. The narrative has changed. And people continue to say Boyka is the man with the numbers. Rockefeller, why don't you think that accusation is valid?
Well, when you say that he's the man with the numbers, by what measure? Okay, have we had any, do we have any data, actual data, non-biased data to support that? And here's the thing. You see, okay, so let's just go with the narrative that he has the numbers and they all decide to go their way. Now, you see, Liberians will expect that whoever makes it neck and neck with the CDC for a round 2 should now be supported by the other party. So Joseph Boyka has the numbers. If he has the numbers, then it means that it should be a one-round victory. It should not be even a second round if he has the numbers. But the way I see it, there may be a round. There may be a round two. Now, when it's time for the round two, why do you think that Alexander Cummings should support Joe Boyka? And even if it happens that Alexander Cummings was the one who made it to the round two, why do you think that Joseph Boyka should support him when it was, as it is alleged that during the last elections, Alexander Cummings did not put his support behind Joe Boyka? So these are issues that we need to look at. That's why I keep saying, no one has the numbers. Okay, no one. It's all about the strategy, because CDC also, you have to understand that there are people who are diehard loyalists to George Weah. And when you compare, when you're looking at the spectrum of loyalty, I think Weah has more people loyal to him in the country than any other politician. Okay, and rightfully so, when be giving his history in the country. So this whole thing about the numbers, if you say you have the numbers, then it's like you're going to take an exam. If you say that you know that I'm adequately prepared for the exam, then there should be no need that you have to go back to see the professor to go over your question paper for there to be any argument or justification. You should go in there and just blow the test away, clear cut. So we have to be careful when we keep saying that we had a number. We did. Have we had a census all around the country? How sure are we that it was done in a non-biased format? Okay. So I really don't. This whole thing with the numbers, I'm not looking at it right now. My goal, but I have a personal stake in Liberia, and that is I'm sick and tired of all the rampant killings. I'm sick and tired of investing to personal investigations, to resolve murder cases. I'm tired.
Thank you.
That's not why. So yes.
Good. I'm pretty sure Idatus would differ. Come in, Stanley.
When you look at presidents around the world, for example, the former Greek president, Carlos Papoulios, he was 85. Giorgio Napolitano of Italy was 89. And all of these people were able to be visionary in delivering the country. So it's not about the age. Ageism is a form of discrimination. There's a tendency for us to juxtapose old age means regression when there's evidence of several oldest presidents in the world. Nelson Mandela was near the age of Honorable Joseph Boyka when he became president of South Africa, and he led with distinction. So it's about the vision, not the age. It's about the vision and selecting the right people, your able lieutenants to help you fulfill that vision. So I'm very confident that given the experience of Honorable Boyka, his service in government, his sense of integrity, commitment to his service for over 42 years, that alone has harnessed him the opportunity to lead his country at the highest level. A man who is quite frankly seasoned in government has come closer to see what power looks like and lead the country. In fact, that's why he made the statement. He was a race car when he was parked, meaning that the VP will do more. So any VP under Honorable Boyka would definitely have an opportunity to serve to the best of his ability for the greater good of Liberia. He will not be one of those presidents that will allow the VP to experience the same thing he experienced when he was VP under Madam Ellen Shirley Johnson, or Johnson Shirley.
Joel?
Okay. I agree to a certain extent with the ageism, okay? However, the countries that you just mentioned, those countries already had institutions, okay? Those countries can survive a president that is incompetent because they have institutions already built around to protect them from these types of incompetency. I'm not disagreeing with Joseph Boyka's experience. I agree with that. All I'm saying is, I hope, at this point anyway, in the history of Liberia, we need better quality candidates. We can't just rely on the elder statements in the room to say, okay, this is your time. I mean, to be frank with you, Liberia is like history is repeating itself. Back in the 80s when Taylor and all these people were in America, struggling to live in Liberia, they were all young when they decided that, listen, enough is enough. I don't agree with the strategy and the tactics, but we in America too, we are at that critical crossroad. we have to decide what type of Liberia we want to live in, and we can't keep playing with our future like this, you know. So we definitely need to be more serious about who we selecting as candidate. We can't just give him this wholesale right to be president just because he's the oldest in the room. That to me is it's a recipe for disaster. We need to pick better candidates. Period.
Okay, I will bring in Rockefeller to give us 2 minutes, then we'll go to the telephone line. Number to call tonight is 267-248-5295. Rockefeller, why don't you give us 2 minutes and then we'll go to the telephone line.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I basically I agree with everything that was being said by Edatus and Joel. But you see, the way the mindset of the Liberians, that is what I find quite worrisome, especially when it comes to voting. So all I can say is, if the power figures right now, which basically they are Boycott and Cummings, in my opinion, they need to see how best they can sit down and to squash things. Even though you got other players that may have come in and the dynamics may seem somewhat altered. But again, looking at the standards of Liberian politics, those two need to sit, because if they don't work it out, I'm afraid that things may not go the way we plan for it to go, as far as it's having a better Liberia come next year.
Don, if you're just joining us, this is Ashford Garley Live on British Radio Africa. This program comes on weekdays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. So if you are interested in becoming a support staff in terms of advertising your business, all you have to do, please contact us. And let us now go to the telephone line. The number to call is 267-248-5295. Hello, caller. Tell us your name.
Hello, Mr. Garland. This is Elvis calling from Minnesota.
Welcome to the show. Let's hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. And hello to the gentleman there. And Joel, I think you've really impressed me so far. I think your analysis has been spot on. But I just want to say, like the other gentleman was saying, I think it's Dr. Rockefeller. The presidency is not a gift that somebody can bestow upon anybody in that country, where I think people are trying to bestow it upon in JMB. It has to be earned, with the hearts and minds of the people of the country. And I'm a patriotic Liberian. Although I sympathize with this president, I'm open to a Cummings boycott ticket. The reason I refuse to support Joe Boycott under any circumstances is not because of him individually, but the people that surrounds him. Those same people who was there during the Ellen government, who stole and was corrupt. Him not being corrupt is one thing, but the people around him are deeply corrupt. Even the likes of yours, who are supporting that. The people like Costa, who are deeply flawed. So for me, I can reconsider my support for this government because I'm a patriotic citizen, and I think, perhaps there might be a brighter future elsewhere than President Weah. But that case hasn't been made convincingly to me yet to switch my support.
Thank you.
So I think former President Boyka has to make his pitch and see if he can win some of us over. Thank you, Mr. Garley. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Okay, the number to call is 267-248-5295. Hello, caller. Tell us your name. Hello, caller. 973 number. Tell us your name, please.
Yeah. Oh, hi. Hello. My name is T. I'm calling from New Jersey.
Okay, you live on the radio. Go ahead and make your point, please.
So this is my thing with the whole boycott and Cummings collaboration. Cummings is one party. I remember vividly they said they should go to primary, and whoever they pick would be the head of the ticket. And I think when Liberian people, I don't know if Liberian people or other people asking for that Cummings must cut himself short and just say, okay, here I'm behind you. And what I look at in Liberia, vice president is not being respected. I don't think, me personally, I support Mr. Cummings. I disagree with Mr. Cummings banning his principle to throw everything behind Boycott because he will want to be the next president online. There's another group of people who waiting. We got a group of people who eating. The Costa, the Kessel, the Jacob, the whole group. And if this man go out of his way to say, okay, you're put together for the better Liberia, I don't think Cummings will have the respect that he deserves.
Thank you.
And not only let me make a quick point. And when the whole things were going on, when Costa was disrespecting the man, insulting this man, with Costa follower and the Martina and the funny boy, Michael never stood up. Then they got 40 years experience to say, yo, for him to be president, but you don't have 40 years sense to tell the people, say, just stop disrespecting the man. We might end up working together one day. So for me, whether come win, lose or not, let him go by himself. I would rather him lose by himself than for him to join people where do mean well for the country. Thank you.
Thank you. She wants Cummins to go by himself, a staunch supporter of Alexander Cummins. Hello, caller. Tell us your name. 701 is your area code.
Hello?
Tell us your name, please. 701.
Yeah, my name is Boy Master. I'm calling from Fargo, North Dakota.
Go ahead and make your point, please.
Yeah, you see, the issue of ANC folks shipping blame on UP folks about being the two parties disrespected each other. Cummins folks as well too disrespected JMB. They called JMB all kinds of names. So in as much we want to foster unity to get a victory, we need to put all that. You say that, you say this to me, you say that to me, and form a ticket. All right? JMB being held the ticket and Cummins be of vice president is the best ticket we should be talking about now. But yeah, so I just want to tell the ANC folks, I mean, they're giving this, hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Wrap up,
yeah,
please.
I mean, they're giving the sedition air. So, I mean, an attempt to be shipping blame, citizens will be in a better position to,
thank you so much.
Win the game. So, the only thing I would advise is that we just form a united front for me and say, look, sit down and talk and reconcile and move the country forward.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have a 612 number. Tell us your name, please.
This is Dr. Cool.
Yeah, go ahead and make your point, please.
Yeah, I believe that this particular ticket is genuine. Why? Because it cannot happen without an alliance. Opportunity and the Unity Party to come together, which could also help them in the end. Because if JMB do feel ANC have a great shot to take, and that is a clear opportunity for them to gain power in the final end. So I don't, any which way it goes, negative or positive, it will go in favor of the ANC if they know how to play the game.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I think this is an opportunity for them.
Thank you. Dr. Kula, hello. Dr. Bantu Kula?
This is Dr. Kula calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, go ahead and make your point, please.
How you doing, Alfred?
I'm better than good, my brother. It's been a minute.
Good. Yeah, there's something wrong with the class of Liberians that I would like to call the educated class. It seems like every time we have an opportunity to save Liberia and come together as a group, we find all the excuses, we find all the ego-driven, selfish excuses not to do it. We lost an opportunity when Samuel Doe should have been brought down by a united opposition. We lost an opportunity when the Taylor issue happened, I believe. We lost an opportunity, or we're losing an opportunity now with WEA. WEA is taking our country backward. Instead of the opposition coming together, we're finding all excuses for not. Well, we say, say by the rules, or man, that took coming to the court, all of these excuses. The fact of the matter is, this is Liberian politics. And whether we want to believe it or not, a united opposition is the only way that George Weah can be defeated. And we saw that when opposition were together, and what's his name? Dylan beat the CDC twice. So I want your panelists to tell me, why is it that an incompetent Weah who does not know how to govern is able to bring together people under one voice and put together his coalition, but we, the educated class cannot come together under one voice and put a group of opposition leaders together
Thank you, Dad.
and form a united front to bring this man down.
Thank you,
Somebody
Dad.
needs to answer that for me.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you.
Well, Pastor Sandal Johnson. Hello, Pastor. Welcome to the show. Go ahead, make your point, please.
My brother, thank you. Good evening to your panelists and good evening to the radio line. The problem here, my dear brother, and other listeners out there, I take this both sides. The Unity Party, people that behind JMB, and the people that behind Comey are the problem in this whole thing. I was in Liberia recently when JMB and Cummings met, when Cummings came at JMB house. My first time meeting, Cummings first time face to face. I met him, shook his hand. The people are friends. But when I hear Liberians always saying, oh, these people, why the guy took up man, deny him, you didn't know him. And I always tell them, I say, not because you see a man's face, you claim you know them. Okay? They've been friends a long time. But deep down in the God know a person. Because if these two people knew each other, all that thing that happened in the court were not first going to happen, number one. Number two, the people that behind, if the person take me to court and say they don't know me, I would never want to see them. They got to apologize. And then the Unity Party saying, holding there and polling. These two people are just not mean well for Liberia.
30 seconds, please.
The two groups need to put their egos together and put things together for Mama Liberia. Because George Weah is very sneaky.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you for the show.
Okay. Ato Weado, hello, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ASHFORD. Thanks also to your panelists for being on tonight. I don't know people Weka and Cummings thing. I don't know from what angle they are expressing those points. But the fact of the matter here is there is a bad block between the two people. And the pastor right before Pastor Sando said this particular court issue. The question here is, did they resolve one bad block that existed? And people all around saying that Cummings and Boycott. If that is the case, then of course the Cummings and Boycott team. But Cummings is not the only person that can be fast. So there are all capable people that Boycott can pick in there. But let me tell you, if Cummings and Boycott team in the Liberian Pro say Boycott and Calgary will beat them far away, I know where
Thank
place
you.
to go next.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
so
Doe.
much.
Thank you, Mr. Doe. We have the last one more caller, then we'll go back to the panelists. 410 is the area code. Hello, caller. Tell us your name.
Thank you for taking my call. My name is Joseph Conto, and I'm calling from Maryland.
Go ahead and make your point.
I understand that everybody or people are seeking for Mr. Cummings and Mr. Barker to come together to form a single ticket. But the main issue that they are not discussing here is that how would they come together when Mr. Cummings is leading the CPP and Mr. Barker left the CPP? And also, Mr. Barker is not in the coalition with Mr. Cummings. And more besides, the UP Constitution doesn't permit no policy to run on the party ticket. So how would they do that? Would Mr. Cummings have to resign from the CPP and the ANC to join Mr. Boakai to form one ticket if Mr. Boakai cannot return to the CPP? Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. And that brings me into our next segment, which happens to do with...
Let me just address one or two things, if you don't mind.
Yeah, your comment that would be the opposition vision for United Front. You can come in either twos. We'll go around the room and then we'll begin the segment. Come in.
Right. So let me just say one thing. In 1985, the opposition collaborated and defeated Samuel Kanye, the late president, our president, Samuel Kanye, who took those elections. He didn't win it. So that's the difference. The opposition won that election. The facts were clear. As far as educated people coming together, I listened to Joseph Boyka when he came to Philadelphia, did a town hall. And Monique Shen was the one who asked him, I hear your supporters insulting Mr. Cummings. They're calling him a criminal. Honorable Boyga, do you believe he's a criminal? And he said no. He's known Cummings. He's a decent man. He's not a criminal. When Mr. Boyka was sick, Honorable Cummings went and visited him. They had a very great discussion. He told his supporters to stop disseminating pictures misrepresenting him around the world. It was a propaganda of CDC that did not work. So these two individuals are very mature. They are talking to each other. You know, this bad blood that we keep on saying happening, they are talking. So the surrogates need to begin to examine themselves and temper down the rhetoric of division. Let's have a reconciliatory approach that is visionary, ensuring that every effort is done to bring the parties together. In fact, all of the opposition together, not just Boyka and Cummings, but all the opposition together, so that we can have a united front for victory. When it comes to the CDC, as I conclude, when it comes to the CDC, make no mistake, George Weah himself cannot get 50 plus 1%. George Weah won the last election with a coalition of the NPP and Prince Johnson's party. Right now, the MDR has publicly made it clear that they're not behind him. So that is another open opportunity for anybody guests to campaign and win the hearts and minds of those individuals. Jeremiah Kuhn has gone to visit the Honorable Mr. Boyka. So let's be very clear here. I'm very confident that at some point in time, if we surrogates can continue to preach the message of unity, hopefully that'll encourage them to come together for a resounding victory.
Mr. Dennis.
You know, they call it that made the comment about the educated class need to come together. I think this is the mistake that we tend to make when we start to separate people based on those types of nuances, classism. Whether you're educated, uneducated, I think the problem that we all face in Liberia today is we all want it to have a good leader in this country. Okay, we shouldn't divide each other with classism. Joseph Boyka, and Alex Cumming. I think one caller, the lady said she would prefer if they go on and Cummings go on and do his own, pick his own VP. Even though my heart tells me that the opposition cannot win without coming together. But I think, if I want to play the devil's advocate here, I think Cummings will be better positioned if he did travel down the road by himself. He's not going to win, but I think he will be better off because his reputation would not be tarnished. As far as Cummings being president for Liberia, I don't really see the vision. I don't see the vision, and even with the having the boycott ticket, I don't really see that vision either. All I see is you have one side that says, "Oh, George Weah is a bad president, so let's just vote for whoever." But we could end up running into the same problem even with a boycott and a Cummings ticket. We keep seeing the same thing over and over. When Ellen became president, they promised us this iron lady, this Harvard-trained economist. Now they're bringing us this Coca-Cola executive. I don't really see what his vision is, and maybe Pastor Addy can kind of help me understand that. But time after time, we keep hearing that the educated class needs to take care of Liberia. But to be honest with you, in my opinion, it's the educated class that have screwed up Liberia. So we need a more diverse coalition in Liberia, educated, uneducated. We just need good thinkers in this country. Thank you.
Folks, if you're just joining us, this is Ashford Garley Live on British Radio Africa. Mr. Anthony V. Cassidy, when are you coming to the show, big brother? I also like to say hi to Archie Moore Feltrix. Mr. Bull is in the building at the door. Joseph Cantor, Flo Mode Freeman, and the rest of you out there would like to say a big thanks for taking the time of your business schedule tonight to form part of this great production. Dr. Cooper.
Yeah, so several things based on what Edatu said and also Joel. Okay, First and foremost, Liberians have to decide what is it that they really want. They have to decide if the country is okay and they feel that things can just work magically, then that's fine. Let's see what happens in the next 6 years. But we have, we as Liberians, I often tell people this: the problem we have in Liberia, we have a syndrome. That is the typical Liberian syndrome. And it is based on the fact that we have a constipated memory and a diarrhea of words. We don't take time to process. We're so quick to just make utterances and think that things should just go everywhere because some Liberians, like I said earlier, feel that they are more Liberians than others. So until we as Liberians sit down, reevaluate, recalibrate, and see how to move things forward, we're not going anywhere. Okay, there were problems, one of the callers that said there were bitterness between both parties. Okay, so Boyka Cam insulted Cummings. Cummings Cam, post-slapping Boyka, people here. So what? At the end of the day, how do we move forward? Is it just about them, or is it about us as a country? That's a very key point that needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Mrs. Lexi Brooks Roberts.
Yes, good
Welcome
evening.
home.
How are you?
Better than good. Go ahead.
Awesome. My camera seems to be acting up again. I'm sorry, I'm working on it. But I'm listening to you guys. My question here is, I know most of them said it's work behind the scenes. I would want to hear from one of the standard bearers to find out how they feel about this. Someone needs to interview them. Why not take the mic to them and get an interview, and we can get some clarity rather than supposing. Again, what I have said, and I will say, Mr. Cummings said that he wanted to be a president and not a vice president. So until I hear from him otherwise, I don't think we need to do that for him to be president or for Boyka. We were told Mr. Boyka or Ambassador Boyka has the numbers. He has the brand. He has all of what it takes to be a president. So why now, after what has happened that burned Mr. Cummings, that's enough to make you traumatized, even if the person, what we said, for peace sake, you will come, be cordial. But I wouldn't want to, get in bed with anyone who has done such, that he went on the stand and testify against the man. So why should he now come closer? Again, until I hear from one of them, I stand to differ that they should reunite. Again, they should have a united front against the issues of the country, but they don't necessarily have to unite to win.
Thank you, Mrs. Roberts. And as we conclude tonight, we want to just go to the opposition vision for United Front, and I will go around the room with just 1 minute each from all of you, and then we can bring this show to a close tonight. Starting up with the Reverend Idatus Ade.
Well, when I look at the vision of the Honorable Joseph Boyka, Tiawan Gonglo, Alexander Cummings, they all have a shared vision, a commonality around the eradication of corruption, agriculture development, education, among several others. So they all have a shared vision. I don't really see a great distinction. Maybe it's just the reorganization of how they will approach their vision. Having said that, we have a president whose vision is pro-poor, but we've gotten poorer under his administration. So there's a clear line of distinction or demarcation between this incumbent versus the opposition that's running. So they all have a shared vision. Unfortunately, their vision has not been given opportunity to test the waters yet. And that is why they're looking up at Joseph Boyka Rescue One to become the visionary of this great approach to turn Liberia from where it is now.
Joel, give me 60 seconds.
I'm not really sure about the vision. But I will say this: the reason why the opposition needs to unite, the primary reason why they need to unite, has everything to do with funding, money. They need each other. They need money to win this election, and Cummings has money, from what I've been told, he has lots of it. He can't do it, and he needs boycott also. So if money will be an issue for Joseph Boycott if he runs alone, and he may run into trouble if he does not get Alex Cummings and his people on his team. Period. Thank you.
Rockefeller. Sister
Yeah, so just real quick, I mean, I would assume that they all have a positive vision for the country, but if they don't unite, I don't see the possibility of them succeeding through this electoral process. That's just my opinion.
Letty Brooks Roberts. Give me
Yes.
60 seconds, please.
Unite. Again, I say unite as a front to talk about issues, to hold this government accountable, and know that we're all here for a reason, and we don't want the same 6 years that we have. But until I hear from our the standard bearers, we still want to wait until we see that, and to put that out there for people to say unite. It's just like me and you running for something, and now you tell me no, you actually unite. No, I want to beat you. I want to show you that I can beat you, or I can do better than you, rather, for more cordial wording. But until I hear from them, I oppose them standing as a ticket when the same people he worked with try to stab him in the back. No, he has to be vigilant. He has to be wise as a serpent, and know that you cannot go where you were bitten before.
Mr. Addy, your
Thank
closing
you all.
statement, Mr. Addy.
Well, certainly I'd like to send this to Liberians. I certainly want to commend you for your consistent listening to the show. All of us have to do our best to get registered, be the instrument of reconciliation, so that Liberia's greatest good will be seen by all of us, by whom we elect. It's also important to know that it's not an easy thing for Honorable Boyka to select a VP, a decision that could make or break his aspiration or desire for the presidency. So let's come together around Rescue One, do our best to ensure that victory is secure. I want to thank all of those collaborating parties currently working with them that were able to join and sign a resolution denouncing the census. So I believe that there is a grassroots movement that is happening, and it's happening little by little. Liberians, be patient. You will definitely hear from Rescue One, the Honorable Joseph Boyka, in terms of where Liberia needs to go going forward.
Joel, closing statement.
I can't say this more, man. This election is very important to the country moving forward. We've had 2.5 generation of children that are uneducated, haven't been going to school. If we get another 6 years of a president that is not valuing education, we will have 30, 40 years of people who have subpar to zero education. So either we make a good decision this time and we invest in creating, teachers and engineers and scientists, or by default, we create rebels in the future. That's what we have at stake today. Thank you.
Dr. Rockefeller.
Well, like I said before, I'm glad that we had this discussion today. And I mean, I can only encourage Liberians to think wisely and be in a position to vote in the best interests, because Liberia belongs to all of us and we all want to see it moving ahead positively. And with that being said, I wish us Godspeed.
Okay, and folks, this is your platform. Come in, Dadus. Yeah, come in.
Yes, I just want to humbly accept a correction made by Mr. Anthony V. Kessely. In 1985 elections, the opposition did not unite. They united after to contest the election results. I just want to accept that correction, which I told the show.
Okay. Well, this is your platform. This is where you want to be on Mondays, Tuesdays, and on Fridays. We done we're not for any political party, so to speak. We're not for the ruling establishment either. But this platform belongs to Liberia. You can come here and have your say. If you want to be a guest on the program, please feel free to contact us. And this Friday, as per our request, Idatus will have Elvis on the show as one of the guests.
Right.
He's
It's
going to
about time.
be in support of CDC. And Joy has been accused of being an undercover sedition. Joy, do you have with CDC?
Archibald Fredericks had a question on the platform as well. Archibald Fredericks, my friend brother, had a question.
Look, but trust me, my brother, and nothing undercover about me. If I was a CDC person, you would see. Go back to, I came from Liberia in 2017. I lost a lot of my friends because I was, talking about how bad the country was moving back then. I'm not an undercover CDC. I just want better people, better leaders for Liberia. If my ticket, to be honest with you, I will have Yeke Koluba on my ticket. That's my man.
Exactly.
But you're talking about Archibald Fredericks?
Yeah, Archibald Frederick had asked a question.
Mm-hmm.
He said that if Cummings is not a criminal, then why Boycott testified against him? And I would just like to tell my friend and brother, Cummings was never convicted in any court to be a criminal. Honorable Boyka was going through the process of the law, something that a statesman would do, a man of integrity, and he was only responding to the law. Had he not responded, it would have been again because he's privileged. He doesn't want to respond to the law, but he's an obedient servant who attended the court's proceeding based on the order of the judge, and he answered to the best of his integrity and knowledge regarding that case.
And I don't know if you heard this leaked audio from Yeke Koluba, who is heard in this audio saying he doesn't think he will be back, but he needs to be paid his arrears. So let us take a listen. Maybe Friday when we can discuss it.
Good morning to everybody in here. I hope you people are all okay. Your please tell Gueglo, my December gas, let him bring it. The January, February, March, when the time reach, will handle it. For me, I know I'm not coming back. If my December gas lead down to open, they will feel bad about me. Very, very bad. Very, 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 very bad about me. I will have no regret to behave the way I will behave. I need my December gas. My December gas are in the budget. The budget have passed. The budget passed ever since. If I can get my January, February gas and March gas or April gas, let it stay. But I need my December gas. If my gas did onto open, they will feel bad about me. Very, very bad. Me, I'm not coming back. I got no regret for what I will do. You're coming back, you get regret for what you will do. I am not coming back. I got no regret for what I will do. Let me let you know today. I will act very aggressive and rude on people for my December gas business. Yeah? Money in the country to get our gas will become problem. And people joking with it. Gueglo, you are our colleague. We call you, don't want to pick our call. I will disrespect you, you will not believe it. You not involve me. We are all colleagues. You should respect us. That's why you took the job to be committee. You want to be on committee, your colleague call, you can't answer. What's wrong with you? We'll meet in session. Let my guys lead out to open.
The voice of Yeke Koluba, your favorite, Joel. He said he's not coming. I don't know what he's referring to. Perhaps he doesn't think he will be re-elected, huh?
It sounds like a fake news, man.
Idatus?
Well, Yeke Koluba is one of a serious frontline fighter. Even though I don't particularly like his choice of words in communicating his disagreement. But I think this is just a clear example of how this government is oppressing those who oppose them. And Yeke Koluba happens to be one of those who, they are oppressing in a very bad way. So when our president makes the boast that he has no political prisoner, well, he's certainly oppressing a senator right before our very eyes. So this is not good for him. It has not been fair. His family doesn't live in Liberia because of the consistent threat to his life. And I think these are things that the international community need to address, especially having had the declaration of the Farmington Agreement of a violent-free society or elections.
And that's all the time we have to be with you. God willing, we'll be back on Friday, same time, same place. Until then, folks, please allow me to borrow the words of the wise man. What people think about you and the possibility of your dream is none of your business. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. The heart of a man is never known until he rises because there's no second chance to make that first impression. Don't see okra and swallow bone because you can't hide your nakedness from bathing bucket. When God bless you, don't see that medicine. Jira se tupaye ge zebon bloda anja ko no chiraji ure no muzo oni won je madobo to jirai ajiwa iwapo bodo blai padi koyo purusi grogba pikonyo see okra yours truly. He doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. Africa's media do be do extraordinary. As for the giant, that now you know me godly. Have a good night.
I thought you said we had a show on Wednesday.